DMase, Vingan and Donick, 102.5. The Game. Willy Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, and Connor Newt here with you. We are live at First Horizon Park, where the Nashville Sounds will take on the Durham Bulls. First pitch is at 6:35. You can catch all of the action on 94.9 The Fan, presented by Twin Peaks Family Leisure, Maple Street Biscuit Company, and Social Cantina. I am a Durham-born boy, so it's cool to be here when the Bulls are in town.
There you go.
Yeah.
Bulls. They're both different ones.
Yes. I'm not sure the sports guys were referring to the Durham Bulls on Saturday Night Live.
The super fans?
Yes, the super fans.
Those are the best.
Yes. It's a bit of a scorcher out here today.
It's
but
hot.
you know
We
what?
got a good breeze.
We got a good spot. We're in the
Yeah.
breezeway here. I'll take
Absolutely.
it. I can take it. I love being at the yard, as they call it.
I am willing to sweat for my work.
Okay.
That's sweat equity, as they call it,
Yes.
right?
And nothing like sweat equity.
I mean, I'm going to be sitting on my butt for 3 hours, but I will be sweating at the same time. So I do think that counts.
Burning a little calories, I guess.
Yes, we've got a fun show planned. Elliotte Friedman, Sportsnet NHL Insider, will join us at 5, as he usually does on Thursdays. We'll get into the Stanley Cup Final and more with Elliotte Friedman, who will be live in Raleigh, North Carolina, not too far from Durham, North Carolina, where Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final will take place tonight. Connor Newt, you are our Titans correspondent. We will get into the Titans more in the 4 o'clock hour, but you were out at practice today. Give us a review. What did you see?
Thank you. Yeah, well, let me first say that it was absolutely a scorcher, so buckle up. Hope you got some towels on you. But yeah, it was more of the same, kind of the storyline I've been talking about all week. Cam Ward up and down, contrary to popular belief by a couple of people. He did not suck today, but he wasn't good. What I noticed was he is very accurate when it comes to passing inside the slot and passing across the middle and even some mid-range stuff. It's the deep balls that are concerning to me. So that's a storyline to keep an eye on. Carnell Tate, I put this out on Twitter. It's moderately blowing up right now, actually. Carnell Tate made an insane grab right in front of me, one-handed. I posted it, so you can go check that out on my Twitter. But he is as advertised, in my opinion. He is going to be, and hopefully it sustains throughout the rest of the season and the actual football that's going to be played. But from what I've seen, he is the practice darling. He has been absolutely outstanding. He was incredible today. He's always open. And even my biggest knock on him is his yak percentage. It looked like it was high today. It looked like once he got hands on the ball, he was capable of moving, making his way to the end zone without being unscathed or being unscathed. So that's pretty good to know. On the defensive side of the ball, Keldrick Falk is fun to watch. He had a would-be sack on Will Levis today with the twos. So take that with what you will. But what I noticed from him is every time the ball is snapped, he goes all gas, no brakes, as the saying goes for Robert Saleh. And Kevin Winston was the other one defensively that stuck out to me. He had a strip tackle on Calvin Ridley. Yes, I said tackle because he full-on tackled him with no pads. So that happened. But overall, it was, more of the same. I wouldn't necessarily say anything groundbreaking happened today, but it was exciting to see them out on the field and, see some progress being made by some of the young rookies.
And I'm sure we'll get into some more Cam Ward belly aching at OTAs at some point during the program.
But we begin with the largest comeback in NBA Finals history.
That's right. The New York Knicks defeat the San Antonio Spurs 107-106 after trailing 81-52
in the third quarter. If you can't do quick math, that's 29 points. OG Anunoby with the tip-in game winner at the buzzer, as the Knicks are now one away from their first championship in half a century, right? Yep, half a century. I had to try my own math correctly in my head, but scary to think about. Since the early 1970s, 1973.
Yes, right.
So I've seen a lot of discussion on that shot in particular from OG Anunoby.
I think Mike Brown, Knicks coach, said after the game it was the most iconic shot in the history of New York basketball. There's been a lot of New York basketball. But that was an incredible
That was the two shots that Willis Reed hit coming out. That probably was the last one you'd have to put out there for the Knicks anyway.
Yeah, I mean, but it's I think it's you fast forward so many years, and with social media and everything, even as you're watching it, your mind, at least mine, my mind automatically went to, this is the greatest poster shot in Knicks history. Like it's like the Michael Jordan as he pulled up and the guy from Utah, Russell, yeah,
Brian
Russell, yes, went by him, and you saw Mike raised up, and you saw that hand, iconic.
He pushed off.
They're going to look back, and if the Knicks win this series, that is going to be the play that sort of encapsulate their whole run. Because, I mean, Coach Brown even said it. They talked about luck, having some luck, but also making your own luck.
Is that the picture you're referring to?
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's about going out there. Yeah, we're gonna have some luck in the game, but if you do things the right way, continue to work hard, you're gonna sort of materialize your own luck. And what happened at the end of that game? That was them making their own magical moment, making their own luck. Why? Because OG Anunoby didn't quit on the ball. Everybody went to Brunson and left the lane wide open for him. They won a championship. OG Anunoby may be MVP. I think it should be Brunson, especially if he has a good game next game and they win. But man, oh man, people are going to be talking about him rather than Brunson.
I have to give a shout out to
Charles Barkley as well. Charles Barkley has had some fantastic quotes during this series, including his comment on Cardi B.
Yes.
Okay.
I saw it. I was watching in real time.
But he said after the game, and I quote, on the San Antonio Spurs, we saw the dumbest basketball team in the history of civilization.
And he didn't stop there. He said any versions of the same game.
But according to Charles Barkley, the Spurs are, quote, the dumbest basketball team in the history of civilization after giving up a 29-point lead in the third quarter of an NBA Finals game. And what the hell? Sorry, Connor. What the hell was De'Aaron Fox doing at the end of the game?
Ooh.
Oh, no, it's valid. You can say that.
I know he's your boy. He's a Kentucky guy, but you run out the ball and you dribble out. Why go for the layup?
I think if he had a dead layup, then I would take the layup. But I think he had to know that somebody was on his tail. Like in this day and age in NBA basketball, I don't think there's such thing as an easy. You don't just lay it in. Somebody is coming to the rim to challenge. Yeah. And in that spot, you got to. He just didn't. He thought he had time that he didn't have, and he should have pulled out. They would have had to foul him, and they would have shot two. I don't know if they would have called him for sure.
Essentially, that would have, had he been fouled, they were up, what, 120?
They were up by one.
Yeah. So had he fouled, it would have given them an opportunity to set up everything that they need to set up, make the 2 free throws, and at least, at best, the only thing they can do is tie the game.
And I can see in the moment, you're sprinting, you think you can finish it right there. Your instincts are telling you to lay it in, but he just that extra thought of who's on my tail. I got a guy that's going to challenge it. Let's just take it out. They have to foul. That just didn't register in time. But to Shaq's point, I did think that the Spurs they stopped attacking the basket. They just were content to just launch. They kept thinking, well, we're hot. We're gonna keep hitting some threes here. And they kept taking quick threes, and they all of the ones they hit in the first half, 14 for 26 or something, where they couldn't miss. They were equally as cold in the second half, and it allowed the Knicks to crawl back into it. It's not crazy that you see this. In today's NBA, you do see extreme runs a lot of times within games. So I wasn't totally shocked they got back into it. I kept thinking, they're gonna. I told everybody I was watching the game with, I said, they're going to get it within 10. I'll guarantee you. And they were like, really? I was like, it's a long game. This was the first half. Yes. But then when they got to 15, I'm thinking, okay, the crowd is looking for some way to get back into it. Just a couple more plays, and the nerves, the feeling will change. Sure enough, that's what happened.
Basketball, I think, is it may be the only sport that you can be down 30 points. Like 30 points in basketball, it's probably like, 28. Yeah, about 35 points in NFL or NHL, it may be. But it still may be up there with basketball in regards to this. Where you're down that many points, 1.5, and your mindset is, if we can get it down to 10, or we can get it down to 20, if we can get it down to 15. They said on television, which I was thinking, like, if the Knicks get this down to 15 points before the fourth quarter starts, they got a chance. They didn't, but they kept it at a pace where they liked. And then eventually, with 7 minutes left, they got it to like 14 points. And after that, San Antonio, they just imploded from a what a Duke standpoint.
They scored 30 points in the second half. The San Antonio Spurs.
After 76 points in the second half.
152 points.
But I think that if there was one thing that I thought they didn't do a good job of, it was they didn't continue to attack the basket. If you look at Harper and Castle, and then obviously Wemby in the lane, if they just kept doing what they've been doing, and then kick it out for three. It's not like you don't stop taking threes. But they just didn't have that killer. They've had so much success attacking the basket. It was. So the Knicks, you got to have a little help. But in NBA basketball, with the three-point shot and the 24-second shot clock, there's so many possessions in the game. You can get way behind. It's not that unusual to come back. But still, that was remarkable. That environment and the way it happened and the physicality, the wrestling that was going on. I've never seen anything quite like that.
Seriously, letting them play. Now, when he got a tech, I didn't agree with it. I don't think he tried to do it. But he's so tall, and he's trying to get through, being held and everything else. He hit Karl Anthony Towns in the face, so he got his tech. Basketball is just, it's an amazing sport from the standpoint of, you're never truly out of it, no matter what goes on. Because maybe there should be studies, and I'm sure there have been studies done on this. What is the effect when you switch ends? If you're a hot team on one end, and then you come out and have you on the other, how much of that continues? Or how much do your percentage dip as a team if you're talking about from the three-point range?
It's interesting. I think that can be something. And I also the mathematicians will tell you that it's so hard. It's good. You could be the best three-point shooters going. But it's just hard to go 14, 26, and then continue to shoot at that percentage. It's just going to level out at some point. And that's what happened. The old fundamentals of basketball. Get fouled. Get to the free throw line. That's the best way to maintain the lead. And they took a lot of quick shots. Content to shoot contest threes. They stopped hitting them, and they weren't aware enough to say, "Hey, get back to it. Get the ball to Wemby in the lane. They can't stop him in there. They're going to foul him. They'll get trouble and kick it out for outside shots instead of just bing, chuck it up there."
Clearly, it was all thanks to Taylor Swift.
She was courtside.
Was there a little much Taylor Swift you like in there on the she really a Knicks fan. Right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're really a diehard Knicks fan.
Well, I've become desensitized to it just because of how often we saw her during Chiefs games when she first started dating Travis Kelce. But Taylor Swift, she's always going to get the cameras. By the way, so somebody posted the full list of celebrities who attended the game last night at Madison Square Garden in the press room. They put a list of all of the celebrities who are attending the game, whether it's a Rangers game or a Knicks game or what have you, and they'll put their seat section and number so that photographers can find them to take pictures. And somebody posted the list, and it was like 2.5 sheets long. That's how many celebrities were at the game last night. And it was sort of funny looking at the list because you could sort of tell
which tier every celebrity was on based on how far down the page they were?
It wasn't done by alphabetical order.
No, it was not in alphabetical order. Taylor Swift somewhere near the top. But maybe it was the Wu-Tang Clan.
It could have been. I mean, and I started to turn the game off. I said after halftime, they were running halftime. I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm going to continue watching this game because I was kind of upset because the Knicks won winning. And I couldn't be mad at San Antonio, but I wanted to. They were playing so good. They weren't doing anything cheap. Even when Robinson hit me in the net. I wanted to get mad at San Antonio, but I couldn't. I'm like, we didn't do anything, you know. So it was like, man. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it about 10 more minutes after half. They don't get it done, then I'll turn it off. And slowly they started to chip away, man. It was the one of the best games outside of. Now we could talk about this too. When we look back in history of finals, like during this time, what would be considered the greatest combination of finals?
That's a good question because I think
Carolina and Vegas and this because Carolina 33 goals in 39 seconds, even though they didn't win, but 3 goals in 39 seconds, and then the acrobatic goal that was made in the next game by Carolina. I mean, goodness.
I think you could put this Stanley Cup final and these NBA finals against many others in history, and you could make the argument that side by side, these two final series are the best we've seen happening at the same time. Both have been absolutely fantastic. By the way, Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final is tonight. Game 5 of the NBA Finals, not until Saturday. Knicks at Spurs. The Knicks looking to win their first title in more than 50 years. 615-737-1025 will take your thoughts on the NBA Finals. But coming up next, speaking of major sporting events, there is one happening. It started today. And I have a question for a lot of you about this particular major sporting event. And we'll get to that next. 615-737-1025. We are broadcasting from the busy Plumbing International Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service.
DMase, Vingan and Donick, 102.5 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. Connor Newt. Today's musical theme is
cover songs that were better than the original. This is Michael Jackson singing My Girl by The Temptations.
Derek, Willie, do you agree with that?
Wow.
Ooh, I love Mike, but man, the Temps. Nah, nobody sang it like David Ruffin.
Might be 0 for 1, Connor.
Well, I have to say, I don't think I'm familiar with it. I didn't know that this was out there.
Well,
I discovered it yesterday. That's what inspired me.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. I need to hear more, but right now I got to go with Temptations.
all right,
We'll
see
see
if Connor can
redeem
himself
himself
throughout the program.
I mean,
as
as
long
long
as
as you have
Alien
Alien
Farms
Farms cover of Smooth Criminal, then we're good.
Oh,
Okay. Well,
I tried.
I tried.
Anyway,
We were talking about the NBA Finals. We've been talking about the Stanley Cup Final. Both series have been incredible.
But
Kicking off today,
the World Cup.
There is a game going on right now. Mexico leads South Africa 1-0. South Korea plays Czechia. I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Czechia? I don't know. Czechia. AKA the Czech Republic. South Korea and Czechia play later today. The U.S. men's national team starts its tournament tomorrow at SoFi Stadium against Paraguay. And the World Cup is the biggest sporting event in the world. But I'm wondering what the level of interest is within the United States. There is the added benefit that North America is hosting the World Cup this go around for the first time since 1994. There are games in Canada and Mexico, but most of the games are happening here in the U.S. I'm sure ratings will be great because of the TV-friendly kickoff times, because the games are here versus 2022 when the games were in Qatar, if I recall correctly. And it's 11:44 p.m. in Qatar, so 8-hour difference. I don't think I stayed up late to watch the games in the World Cup 4 years ago. But I know that soccer is a beloved sport worldwide. I am wondering from our listeners, 615-737-1025, if the World Cup being on American soil changes your interest level.
And I would add to this. We, for a long time, for people that might be newer to town, we as a city, we were right in the mix to get World Cup games here in Nashville. And then all of the complications happened with the football stadium, and the Titans made the decision to put a roof on the stadium, which really pivoted them away. We were a finalist as a city.
Yeah.
I think we would certainly feel it a million times more if we had a game here in the next week or two. But I'm really curious, even though we're not feeling it in our city, if you have added interest for that. And also given the fact that now we put 4 more years under our belt as a soccer market. We've got Nashville SC, which has got a great following. It's a great place to watch a game. Messi's been here. We've hosted a lot of Olympic events. We've had friendlies with the national team. We've had international games here. So I've always wanted to gauge the interest in the World Cup because, as you said it, Adam, this is the biggest sporting event in the world, and it's not debatable. It's not close.
Yeah.
So I would love to know, are you playing along here? I am huge into the World Cup. I don't watch any leagues overseas at all. I follow Nashville SC. I like to know how they're doing. I'll go to an occasional game, but I am not an international soccer fan at all. That being said, when the World Cup is going, I am all in. I love watching the game.
I think there are enough of a group or enough of those that represent soccer in this city. I think eventually, they may be having watch parties in other areas, not in the area that we're in. Maybe they haven't been east. I would tend to believe that there was a concentration of soccer fans in that sort of area near the ballpark, near the stadium. So I think as the American team, if they advance to where people believe they should, or the expectation, I think the fever pitch we're starting to feel a little bit more. And maybe even the closer you get to game time. They play tonight or tomorrow?
Tomorrow night.
Maybe tomorrow it's a different sort of feeling around town, or at least in some places that you frequent or whatnot. So, but I think there's maybe it doesn't get the coverage necessarily because of what's going on in the other two finals that are happening. Maybe not. I don't know. But I'm sure there are other states that see this as the biggest thing that they're going to have during the year, especially during the summer.
I'm glad Derek brought up specifically the U.S. team, because I think if you go back 3, 4, 5 World Cups, the significance of the U.S. team has increased. They've gotten better each 4 years. They're more of a factor. There's a higher expectation level, and there's that curiosity. Could they break through and really have a chance to win it? They've never come close to winning the World Cup, but they've had their moments. And so now, is it HBO that's got the running show that's been sort of building up? They've been going behind the scenes, try to help you learn who the players are and stuff. I'm curious from our listeners' standpoint too. Are you jumping on board? Are you getting together with U.S. fans? It's always fun because people go absolutely crazy for the soccer fans. With the chants and everything. Yeah. It's easy to get caught up in, really.
Here's where I stand on this. I am not a soccer fan generally, as you just said, Willie. I am not a soccer fan generally. That is nothing against the sport of soccer. I'm not here complaining that it's boring, low scoring, but it's just not.
By the way, somebody volunteered to be that fan. I want that fan to call in. You have to have this discussion with that fan. Somebody be the guy that ignites the fuse with all the other soccer fans. Hey, you can't talk about our sport like that.
Yes. I am not that guy. I am not going to criticize soccer. It's just not for me, and that's okay.
So privately, you're that guy. You just don't want to be a jerk.
Yes, exactly.
I will neither confirm nor deny. But let me continue my point. I do also think part of it is you mentioned this, Willie. The U.S. men's national team has never been the favorite in a World Cup. I believe they are 13th or 14th in betting odds to win the World Cup. Favoring Spain, France is up there, England, Portugal, Brazil, Argentina, etc. I think if the U.S. men's team was more of a factor to actually win the World Cup, I think more people would be invested at the beginning. I am a wait-and-see kind of World Cup viewer. For example, I probably will not watch the U.S. team's game against Portugal tomorrow. I'm sorry, match against Paraguay. Two mistakes there. Match against Paraguay tomorrow. But if Team USA advances deep into the World Cup, I will probably start to check in. But
I want to have it on background.
Probably not.
No. I'm being honest. I'm being honest.
Okay, I get it. I mean,
not American.
I mean, look. I said game instead of match. I said Portugal instead of Paraguay. And I did not know that the World Cup expanded to 48 teams until yesterday.
I didn't either, so don't worry about it.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah, that's least of the problem. Yeah, but I mean, hey, listen, soccer is in the U.S. is a growing sport. Everywhere else, it is the sport.
Correct.
That they go to, and to them, soccer's like our football. So I enjoy it because I'm hoping that the U.S. get to a point where you can't wait to see them play the next match, which means they're continuing to win. But just enjoying, a sport that I usually don't watch, but I'm watching it because it's the U.S. versus somebody else, and see where they measure up. So that's the reason I'm going to watch it. Will I pay close attention to it? Probably not at least the first game, but it will be sort of on a quad television.
Are you going to put it on the quad?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I'm
going to watch
tomorrow. And I do kind of miss. I used to like when the games were maybe in Europe and they were in the morning, like leading up to the show. Like I do like that flow. Now there's going to be some primetime games. I'm not sure. Like I gotta have my baseball, and of course, like you said, the finals are so compelling for hockey and basketball. We got to make time for those. So,
well, nothing is going up against the U.S. men's national team match tomorrow.
I think it's okay to say game.
Okay.
I think don't because some people may be listening.
I know,
and they say no, it's not okay.
I will say back to them, do you want me to watch or not? Don't get on me for missing the terminology. I'll give you a funny story. I got to do a YouTube broadcast of the U.S. women's national team in a friendly several years ago. And this was Alex Morgan and Rapinoe and, this was a great team, like a great team. All the top players are playing. And I used the term the correct term in soccer is, and of course, my daughter was a young soccer player at the time. I didn't know all the lingo at the time, but I was like, yeah, I know a little bit of lingo, You try to bend it, right? So Megan Rapinoe is taking a free kick, and she bent one. I used the term banana. And man, the trolls, did they ever get after me? I was like, oh my God. I was like, what did I do? What did I do? I was like, it's the same thing. It's a curvature. It's an image. The ball curved like a banana. It was an arc. On the playground, we sometimes call it the banana kick, but apparently the terminology is she bent it, like Beckham. And I was like, oh man, I ticked off the. And that's why I said,
and that's why I said you just can't say flipping. You just say that. You can't.
I got exposed
to borrow a phrase from my predecessor in this chair. I'm not here to yuck anybody's yuck. Okay? I am a hockey sicko. When earlier this year during the Winter Olympics, I watched all of the games, as many games as I could, because I am a hockey sicko. I did not just watch Team USA or Canada. I watched all the games. During the Summer Olympics, I am a basketball fan. I will watch as many basketball games as I can, not just Team USA. I'll watch the other powerhouses play their games as well. For me, as someone who does not watch soccer regularly, I feel like I'm going to have a hard time getting into this. Where I stand on it is, if the U.S. men's national team advances further than anticipated in the tournament, I'll check it out. I remember there being so much buzz around that women's team several years ago, and I watched those games. My wife watched those games. It was a big deal. If the men can find a similar groove, I'll tune in. But right now, I'll be a passive watcher at best. I'm just being honest.
I will also give you another fun gateway if you're just a casual fan and you want to try to get the flavor. Watch England play, because the fans are insane and they are always waiting for the worst thing to happen. And they're kind of like what we've talked about before with the Knicks, the Maple Leafs. Like, they haven't won in a long, long time. They always feel like they have a chance. And everybody completely loses their mind when something goes bad. And the papers over there, it's just, what do you like to call it, Adam's, like secondhand, whatever. Like, you're not
secondhand embarrassment.
Well, I don't know if it's embarrassment, secondhand something, because it's just fun to sit on the railing. You're not emotionally invested in this team, but just watching these people just die inside as they're watching them come up short. And if they ever do win it, it'll be, I don't know what will happen. Yeah.
This is why I just thought about it. There are going to be a lot of people watching. whether they love soccer.
I do think the ratings will be very good because
Yeah.
the games are on at
At
reasonable time.
It's
Because
not
the
even that.
tournament is here.
It's not even
But
that.
I do think that is an entry point for a lot of people.
Oh,
The
yeah,
games are on
it's accessible.
at a normal time.
Yeah, and it's just accessible for everybody to get. But it gives everybody a reason to drink.
That is for sure.
It gives people a reason to drink. Not that you need one.
Oh,
But this gives you a reason.
if
to
you
drink.
like to do that, then
Exactly.
I would say look around. Just go on the internet. You'll find
Bars.
because there are places that open up to watch the English Premier League.
Uh-huh.
You know, when and it's 9 or 10 in the morning, and those games they'll be at the pubs.
Uh-huh.
So for these games, you just pick your country that you want. You can find a place where they're watching.
Oh, yeah.
But man, you really want to get into it. Watch at a pub for the English games. Then root for that team and not nuts when they play.
If you watched that last
Also,
episode,
you get a little feel for what that's like.
I remember my junior year in college. I studied abroad for one semester in London. And I tried to get into soccer or football when I was there. And it was interesting. But what I do remember is trying to find any pub or bar in London that would play the AFC Championship game between the Jets and the Colts in 2010. And we finally found a pub that would turn on the game for us. We went to like four or five different bars slash pubs. It's like, you have the American football game on? And they were like, huh? But then we found one that did, and we were very appreciative. 615-737-1025. The World Cup is underway. The U.S. men's national team kicks off tomorrow against Paraguay, not Portugal, Paraguay. What is your interest level with the tournament here in North America for the first time since 1994? 615-737-1025. We'll take your reaction and continue the conversation coming up next. Willy, Donna, Garrett, Mason, Adam, Vingy, 1025, the game. I forgot to mention this during the first segment about the Knicks fans apparently throwing eggs at Victor Wembanyama. Have you ever been tempted to throw anything at someone? Yes, you did. Yes, you did. But I don't know. Maybe did you not get it?
I didn't get it.
Hold on. He sent it to DMason at dmason85@me.com.
Yeah, okay, maybe. Yeah.
Hey, Connor, one texter is saying that the background audio is still on the YouTube chat.
is the highest scoring team out there?
I think, look, I don't know a whole lot about soccer, but it does seem like in the World Cup in particular, you're going to tighten up. You're not going to play as loose and free as you would in regular season. It's no different than the NBA or the NHL. The World Cup is different. The NBA Finals, the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs are different. So it even makes it more prone, I think, to have the 1-1, 2-1 type of games. But yeah, you appreciate the teams, and this is again my limited knowledge of how it works, but teams that have the higher skill, like Brazil, a lot of times they will still try to play and beat you 3 or 4-0, even if it means they're more prone to give up a goal. Some teams will really like, we will not give up a goal. we want to win 1-0 or 2-1. We're not going to let you score. That's the best way to win. Defense wins championships, kind of stuff. I'd love to hear from some soccer fans who can help fill it in, throughout this whole process.
Well,
tell us what to look for.
Here's one. As a soccer fan, I've been looking forward to this World Cup for years. This is an opportunity for soccer to capitalize on a growing momentum with the youngest generation of Americans. There could be a genuinely seismic shift in soccer culture in this country with a good run. And not to diminish what that texter is saying, but I do feel that is a popular talking point whenever there's a worldwide sporting event, with Team USA winning Olympic gold in hockey. Oh, there's going to be such a spike in hockey or what have you. Do we think that I'm sorry, it's not Team USA, the U.S. men's national team, if USMNT goes on an unprecedented run, that young people in this country are going to be taking up soccer? That's a legitimate question. Do we think it's going to have that impact if the USA team goes on a legitimate run?
I think it has the potential to. I think, because this is a group that, was pegged to be great, was pegged to be greater or better, much better than their predecessor. So, people just assume this will be the group of guys that will have the best shot at winning in the World Cup. And they haven't come close to it. So if they do go on a run, I think, and they do win, or even play in the finals, I think it will sort of do what other sports from a Olympic standpoint does for the U.S. If they're going all the way, then you tend to pick up more viewers. You tend to pick up more people that are going to participate in that sport. If they don't, then maybe you don't see that influx of new eyes or new people to the sport.
I do think that every 4 years it grows. It's not this takeover. It's not this you wake up one morning and what happened? Everybody's a soccer fan. It's not like that. But every 4 years, I do feel like there's more and more interest. Because I go back a long way on shows like this in this city. Every 4 years we have this conversation. But I would have to tell you, 12 or 15 years ago, I didn't think we'd be able to fill up a stadium the way we do for an MLS team.
Yeah.
And it's a great, well-run thing. There are soccer fans now. There's more kids playing. The women's soccer is grown exponentially now. It's such a popular sport for sure.
But the women have had more success at this level than the men.
But I would also say this about the men. Every 4 years, I think they get a little bit better. And, we still don't grow and develop as many people as you hope. You hope in a nation our size, we could find 25 great soccer players. We still end up getting a lot of players from overseas that are, sons of military or different people that got their development a lot of times not here.
Yeah.
But they're eligible to play for USA, so we take them, right? Hopefully someday we can still develop more and more players where we won't have to rely on that. But I still think it's kind of a suburban. It's just not what a lot of young boys gravitate to first, with exceptions, right?
Yeah.
There's some people that just love the soccer, but it's a lot of times you play early, and there's still this force that pulls you towards football or baseball or basketball.
Yeah, ultimately.
Yeah.
Some do
It's just a
stay.
tradition.
Yeah, exactly. Some do stay and play soccer, but I think soccer, like any sport, any Olympic sport, because soccer is an Olympic sport. I just think when the U.S. team, whether it be in the World Cup or any other tournament, when they're having success, and we saw it on the women's side, people gravitate toward it. More eyes are on the sport. Then you may get a younger demographic or a younger group starting to play that sport just because they saw it. I think it'll be the same way if the U.S. can find themselves in meaningful games and meaningful moments. I think it will, because now basketball is over with, hockey is over with, football hasn't started yet. So now everybody will be focused on one sport, and that's soccer.
Quickly, let's go to Adam in Portland on our phone line. Adam, thank you for calling and waiting. Please go ahead.
Well, I think Derek hit it on the head. Like, it's very deliberate that they do it in June, because I'm 3 out of 10 interested, and that's the best you're ever going to get out of me. Like, so Mbappe and Messi, for $1 billion, I couldn't name a third soccer player that exists on this earth. So, and that, I don't understand it. And so, because I don't understand it, my interest level can't. But there's nothing else. It's either that or like rugby, or I could watch people shoot pool if they still do that on ESPN. I thought that was cool, but other than that, we had nothing, dude. We've run out, and like the depression hits you, except when the World Cup's on. You're like, oh, I can watch the World Cup. So yeah, man, that's as good as I'm ever going to get. Is 3 out of 10.
Thanks, Adam.
Yeah, but then you know what? Because I asked my son this. This had to be some years ago. He may have still been in high school at the time too, and I asked him about soccer and do you want to because I one of the games where I was like, do you want to watch soccer or do you want to go to a soccer game? He was like, no, the World Games hasn't started yet. Or the Olympics. I like watching everybody else.
Yeah.
And some people are like that. They're not going to pay attention to the sport as much, but then they enjoy watching other guys that are known in the sport, but they're from other countries. They like watching those individuals too. So, I mean, eventually, I think we have this conversation every 4 years. How much of an influence can the World Games or the Olympics have on particular sports, smaller ones? And we've seen it happen with women's soccer. We've seen it happen with softball and baseball. When the U.S. is doing well in particular sports like that, people tend to gravitate to them.
615-737-1025. Coming up next, we get into the Tennessee Titans. They were out at practice today. Connor Newt was out there. He gave us his practice report at the beginning of the show. Robert Saleh could have written his own epitaph based on something I heard him say earlier today. We'll discuss that coming up next. 615-737-1025. Willy Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game. DMase, Vingan, and Donick, 102.5 The Game. Willy Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, and Connor Newt here with you. We are live at First Horizon Park, where the Sounds will host the Durham Bulls tonight. First pitch, 6:35 on 94.9 The Fan. Tomorrow is emo night here at First Horizon Park. I got to be there. And Willie was like, what's emo? Do you mean Elmo? No.
Emo?
I mean emo, as an emotional. I'm an emotional guy.
So you go.
For the record, I
listen
did not
to
mention
emo.
Elmo, even though I did.
You thought it.
I
You
did
thought
see
it.
the Comedy Central routine where Jon Stewart had a fictional Elmo
Yes.
who said he was neutral.
Uh-huh.
And they
Elmo
were
said he
getting on-
wanted both teams to have fun
Right.
in the NBA Finals.
Right.
He's a native New Yorker.
Right, so that was Jon Stewart's angle. It's like, you should be rooting for the Knicks. And then come to find out in this bit that Elmo is secretly has a gambling problem. And he's talking about overs and under, it was pretty funny.
So
It
it's
was well
not
done.
it's
Clever,
not
very
Elmo
clever.
night. It's not Elmo
It's not
night.
Elmo night.
It's emo
It's
night
emo night.
tomorrow. So I might have to come.
Yeah.
But Connor, you were out at Titans OTA practice today. You know there's a lot of Cam Ward belly aching going on. Tell us quickly your review of Cam Ward's performance today.
He's not a bust. I'll tell you that much.
Okay.
He is
Good
not,
to hear.
He is not, the worst quarterback to ever grace the field, as some people are putting out there. That said, he wasn't particularly, Hall of Fame level today. He didn't light the world on fire. He wasn't good. I'll just put it that way. He wasn't the best quarterback on the field, in my opinion. Mitch Trubisky had a good day, in my opinion. But
Quarterback controversy.
Yeah.
Kidding.
yeah, we got a QB battle here in Nashville. But he was fine. Like I told you, I think when he works across the middle, he works those short game passes and even some of the mid-range stuff with Carnell Tate and Wan'Dale Robinson and Calvin Ridley in there. He looks accurate. It's the deep balls that are concerning. And there were, I could probably count on two hands some instances where I thought, yeah, he could probably angle that a little bit better. Yeah, he could probably throw that a little bit shorter or a little bit longer or what have you. So I'm not in full-on panic mode yet. It's a June practice. It's you don't take a lot of stock in a practice that doesn't have pads unless you're Kevin Winston, who full-on tackled Calvin Ridley today. But you shouldn't take a lot of stock into an unpadded practice. That's just my opinion.
So Robert Saleh today was asked about Cam Ward's struggles in OTA practices, at least those attended by reporters. And as I joked before the break, Robert Saleh could have written his epitaph with this quote. I'll put myself out there. I think it's very safe to say that we've got a really, really, really good quarterback. Three reallys. Really, really, really good quarterback, and we're in good hands, end quote. So when Robert Saleh gets fired, that quote's going to resurface. That's going to be on Robert Saleh's Titans coaching tombstone if it doesn't work out. I'll put myself out there, quote. I think it's very safe to say that we've got a really, really, really good quarterback, and we're in good hands, end quote.
What did he say about Zach Wilson when he first? Did he only get one really, or did he not get any reallys?
Cam Ward got three reallys. I would have to do some research to see how many reallys Zach Wilson got a few years ago. But hey,
he might look really, really, really good compared to Zach Wilson.
Okay. But if he gave Zach three reallys too,
then we got a problem.
Yeah, we got a problem.
Then I'm concerned.
Then you have reason to be concerned. So as we've been discussing, since the Titans started OTAs, the number one storyline is Cam Ward's accuracy. Ward has struggled in that department at practice. He struggled in that department last season. And the other day, I stumbled across a story on Pro Football Focus written by Bradley Locker about the most and least accurate quarterback seasons in Pro Football Focus history, which dates to 2015, so more than 10 years. Ward was not featured in the story, but I reached out to Bradley Locker, who wrote the story, and he was kind enough to share the data on Ward. And I want to share it with all of you. So Pro Football Focus breaks down accuracy into four categories. Bear with me here. 1, overall accuracy. 2, plus accuracy. 3, catchable inaccurate. And 4, uncatchable inaccurate. And for those of you concerned about Ward's precision, the data suggests you have reason to be concerned. So let's start with quote unquote uncatchable inaccurate. And you guys tell me if this meshes with what you saw from Ward last season. Uncatchable inaccurate is described as, quote, even despite a Herculean effort from the receiver, there is almost no shot of the pass being completed. This includes overthrows and underthrows, as well as passes thrown too far in front or behind. Ward last season had an uncatchable inaccurate rate of 22.4%, which ranked 31st out of 37 quarterbacks who attempted at least 200 passes.
Okay.
Do you all think that tracks from what you saw from Ward last season?
Let me ask one question, and I don't know if this is addressed in there. Do they factor in the pass rush in these throws? Or is it just whatever the pass rush is, it is? We're just tracking the result of the throw. I'm guessing it's the latter, right?
So
if it's not already mentioned.
I don't know if it includes pass rush, but I know that when evaluating a quarterback's accuracy, Pro Football Focus removes throwaways and spiked balls and passes batted down at the line of scrimmage. So I assume that these numbers also remove those passes as well. I can't tell you if it includes pass rush or not, but I'm confident it takes out balls thrown away when he's scrambling, running for his life.
DMase, I would imagine if somebody comes up with and has a set of numbers and says, okay, we have the numbers, uncatchable, inaccurate, and you're right at the top of the list. That's just not a good feeling.
No, it's not a good feeling. But I'm not, because I just look at the game again. I think everything has its place, as my dad would always say, because he's an Army guy. Everything has a place, so put it in that place. Let's talk about my clothes, really. But I think everything has its place. Those numbers, analytics, has its place in this game. It's made the game better. I also think that watching it, knowing what's going on, that has its place too. Again, we've always said, how do you marry those two in a way that is it's being actual, but still showing that there are a lot of variables within that accuracy or how accurate you are. Because when I looked at the games, I didn't see that. I just didn't. Now, I'm not saying I didn't see any overthrown balls or balls thrown. I see that from every quarterback, but I didn't see it at a rate that suggests I would have thought, man, he's the worst quarterback in the league when he throw more overthrown balls.
Well, he's not.
Just about everybody.
31st out of 37. And if you give me a moment, I can tell you the quarterbacks who had a worse rate.
So that is a fair question. Is he in a group of quarterbacks that were largely ineffective in general? Because I believe that, to be fair, the environment he was in contributed to that number. If his supporting cast gets better, that number should obviously get better.
Here are the quarterbacks who had a higher rate of uncatchable, inaccurate passes, according to Pro Football Focus. Marcus Mariota, Michael Penix Jr., Caleb Williams, C.J. Stroud, Baker Mayfield, and J.J. McCarthy.
See, now that's an interesting mix, right? Because Caleb Williams and Baker Mayfield, you would say, had some traits that were pretty effective, right?
They led the team. Well, at least both guys.
Caleb Williams got his team in the playoffs. Yeah. Now, Caleb Williams, we know he's got a rocket of an arm, and we can picture some throws that
and he
don't
actually
go well.
had a worse completion percentage than Cam Ward last season, for what it's worth.
Yeah, interesting. Mayfield, that's surprising to me.
By the way, if you're curious, in the Pro Football Focus era, the quarterback with the worst uncatchable inaccurate rate in a single season, Anthony Richardson, in 2024, 33.6%, compared to Cam Ward this past season, 22.4%. That tracks because a lot of questions about Anthony Richardson's accuracy. He had the worst rate in that realm in the past 10 years.
Now, we're only talking about the extreme uncatchable. This is the extreme misses, right?
Yes. Again, the description
are throwaways, intentional throwaways factored into this? Like, I'm trying to figure out why.
So Pro Football Focus has a stat called adjusted completion percentage, which tries to take into account things that are out of the quarterback's control.
Mm-hmm.
So correct me if I'm wrong here. If a quarterback spikes the ball to stop the clock, that counts as an incomplete pass,
Yes.
correct?
Uh-huh.
So Pro Football Focus removes that from the calculus.
Yeah, okay.
If a quarterback is running for his life and throws the ball away, that counts as an incomplete pass in real life. Pro Football Focus does not consider that in their analysis.
Okay.
So I assume in these passes, throwaways, spiked balls, etc., are not included.
Well, even if that is indeed the case, again, I didn't watch Cam and think at the end of the season, man, he throws the ball over people's head too many times, or he throws it behind them too many. I just never thought that. Did I believe he needed to get more? He needed to get a little bit more accurate than what he was. Yes, he does. But I never thought that. And listen, I'm not a quarterback guru either, you know, and I don't know their offense and what they want to do each and every play. But I never walked away from a game thinking like, man, this dude, he overthrow the ball every week, or he's throwing it behind guys every week.
So Cam's overall accuracy rating was 58.9%. Accurate, the definition according to Pro Football Focus, when a passer puts the ball on the receiver's frame so that he doesn't need to adjust or slow down to make the play and continue after the catch. Cam Ward, 58.9% of his passes were considered accurate. That ranked 22nd out of 37.
Yeah, I think some offenses, and again, they're going to have to, hopefully this offense allows for a lot of movement to where as guys get the ball and they're going. But there are some offenses that are not as fluid as others in the passing game. You have a lot of stops. You have a lot of, curls, comebacks, stuff like that. So when you have shallow crosses and slants, those are the plays that, depending on the defense, that allows you to get it and go and not break stride. But even those at times, again, it's like, what is the defense doing? That's the thing, too. You got to look at what is the defense doing, because if it's 3rd and 3 and they're playing the tight quarters coverage and that safety is up, I have to put it in a place where I hit him right on his back shoulder because the defensive guy is right above him. Or I may have to put it low because the defensive back. See, those are all the things all those variables that we don't talk about.
It's hard to really drill down on some of this stuff. But I do think there's enough out there with these numbers and the eye test, because that's what we're putting together, right? A lot of the media, they've been watching these practices, and they've all said it's still a little bit erratic at times, right? It's not, you don't come out of there saying, boy, he was laser or razor sharp today. He's hitting everything. There's still questions about his accuracy from the eye test, and I think the numbers from his rookie year back up that he's got to improve overall, even with the environment he's been in. And I think that is going to be the key, is can they improve the environment with better personnel, with a new coach who has got the great reputation of being a quarterback-friendly offensive guru. If you can take those things, you hope to see a lot of improvement. It's not going to be a finished product after this year, but if he can take some steps forward, then that's good.
Matthew says, does Cam Ward work for Allstate? Because he's putting them in good hands, I suppose. One texter says, I don't know why this is infuriating to listen to, but I know those stats don't take into account how crappy his line was and the fact that he had no receivers and had to play the top 12 defenses 13 times as a rookie with trash can coaching. But yeah, totally. He sucks. I am not saying Cam Ward sucks. I am saying that I am reasonably concerned about his accuracy. And I don't know how often a quarterback can dramatically improve his accuracy over the course of his career. I know that Josh Allen, I believe, is brought up as an example, but Josh Allen is one of one.
Lamar Jackson.
But you wouldn't have said that after his first year.
Exactly. Not even after the second year. You wouldn't have said that.
Josh Allen, he did not look like he was going to become the player he did. I think there were a lot of questions after a year or two. And there's probably not a lot of guys who have made a jump like he's made since then. Sometimes you see it after the first year and you're like, it doesn't get any better. But Josh Allen spiked, no question.
But if I were to tell you that Cam Ward, again, was one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL in terms of throwing passes that had almost no shot of being completed, including overthrows and underthrows, as well as passes thrown too far in front or behind, would you say, yeah, that makes sense based on what I saw? Would you think that would be a reasonable evaluation of Cam Ward?
Yeah, for now, again, trying to understand that he was going through the gasoline fire. Like, I would love to look at all the throws that went into that 20, what did you say, whatever,
22.4%. 22.4.
So I'd love to get a package of those throws and track each one and say, what did he see there? What were the circumstances? Was he under a blitz where, like, nobody's open? I'm going to get my head caved in here. If I don't just chuck this ball, I'm throwing it away.
Yeah.
Like, I think there have to be some of those in there. And there's probably a batch of them in there where you're thinking the throw's there, but that throw's way off. So it's a combination.
One texter says, the O-line, wide receivers, and coaching didn't make Cam overthrow wide open guys many, many times.
Again, there were times that I didn't walk away from the game saying, or walk away from this season saying, man, he's overthrown his guys more than anybody, or just about more than anybody in the league, or he's thrown behind them more than just about anybody. I didn't walk away from the game or walk away from the season thinking that. I walked away from the season thinking the kid has developed a little bit. He needs to develop more. They need to surround him, and then we can get an accurate portrayal of who he's going to be. And if he doesn't show it, I am going to be the first person. That's my track record, okay? If you show me that you're doing something, great. But the minute you start deviating from that, then I have a right to point it out. And I will do that with Cam. If we get into camp they get into camp, and they're going against their defense every day, then they go and get, they have these guys coming in for practices with other teams, or they're going somewhere else. If he's not looking good, then I think that's when people need to start taking note.
615-737-1025. Just thought I would share some fancy stats about Cam Ward's accuracy. We'll take your thoughts on it, 615-737-1025. Also coming up next, if you are a crisis PR manager or happen to know someone who is a crisis PR manager, my suggestion, get your ass to Lubbock right now. 615-737-1025. We'll explain coming up next. Willy Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game.
All right, let's tell you once again about Loan Pronto and what they have been up to. They're helping people save money by using the equity in your home. And many homeowners don't realize you can use this equity to access hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash for different purposes. It might be for a home improvement project. It might be to just attack credit card bills or car loans that have high interest rates that are eating up your monthly budget. You can get in a better spot because the rates are better through Loan Pronto with zero out of pocket, no hard credit pull up front, no appraisal, no long drawn out bank process, and no touching your first mortgage. You do all of this from your phone, and rates are at near 3-year lows. So go to loanpronto.com, see how much you can save in about 60 seconds, and learn more about the Rapid Equity Loan Program through Loan Pronto. 615-499-5780 is the number. Once again, the website, loanpronto.com. 2,800 5-star Google reviews, or call 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Brendan Sorsby is recovering from an addiction. He's recovering. Like, I've sat down with this young man multiple times, and the things that he is going through and what he's been through is serious. As a society, we've been okay with other things that happens and allowing players to play, and this has been the one thing that has united people that we're against. You know, it's crazy because it's not murder, it's not beating somebody, or so there's a lot of things that we're working.
Texas Tech coach Joey McGuire. Can you put that on the t-shirt? It's not murder, it's not beating somebody. Brendan Sorsby on the back.
There's a lot of things that it's not, including those things. And that is so
that
not
is
the
true.
point. So not the point.
I mean,
the point.
On the surface, it is true. Gambling is not murder or assault.
We know that. Duh.
But Texas Tech has been stepping in it lately.
Oh, my gosh.
That wasn't the only blunder that someone affiliated with Texas Tech made in the past day or so. Connor, what's the name of the booster who's all over the news now?
Cody Campbell.
Cody Campbell. All right. Cody Campbell. He was on with Dan Dockich and said this among other things, about the situation. Quote, he didn't bet on a single game he played in. He didn't hurt anybody. There are kids that will suit up this fall who have actually hurt people and done bad things. And nobody's talking about boycotting them or not playing them. Nobody's on their moral high horse saying they're so good and Texas Tech is so evil. I don't have any patience for that. There are kids that are playing that have gotten DUIs, that have beaten up women, kids that have committed horrible acts. Nobody boycotted Penn State when that horrible situation happened there. If this happened at LSU, people would say, it's LSU. They're always going to do what they do. But it happened at Texas Tech, and people don't want to compete with us.
So far off base.
Among other things.
First of all, Penn State specifically paid a terrible penalty.
They fired everybody.
Yeah, they had to take several steps back. I mean, that was a awful example that was unrelated to the very specific rules of gambling on sports. He's trying to distract from the point. And the whole thing about LSU, again, so far off base. What in the world kind of scope are we looking through here? It is just unbelievable. If LSU, you're telling me it wouldn't be just as big of a story if it was LSU or Alabama or Ohio State. It would be equally as big. It's a fundamental thing. You cannot bet on the game. You can't do it.
He's one of those people that you end up despising, that you end up hating. He is. Essentially, he is. He's one of those guys because he tries to make you sympathize with the abuser. That's what he tries to do. Point blank. It's no other. You can't put it any other way. He's the type of guy that try to get you to sympathize with the abuser, and everybody see that you beat on her, or she beat on him, but you try to get me to sympathize with him. No, I'm not doing that. Like, I am not. Listen, the kid has a problem. He does, and that's serious. If you want to help the kid, let him come to practice. Let him be around the team. Let him be a GA. Learn the game more. Be around the team. So you're right. He's not by himself. But that don't mean he can play on Saturdays or any day that you play a game against another opponent. So what you're saying is, you're basically saying is, you abuse her. You're not going to jail, but we're going to force her to go back to you. That's basically what he's saying.
And I do think that some of these instances he's talking about that we have dealt with as sports talk show hosts when they come across, right? So-and-so is arrested for this or that, a domestic violence, a DUI, all of these things. And there's always a debate on what to do, but there's also many times a dispute on the facts. A lot of us don't always know the particulars of what happened. And that is so different than this case, where everybody knows exactly what he did. It's not in dispute. He gambled all these different things. He did it. It's against the rules specifically. So it is not comparable to domestic violence or DUI or these other examples he's throwing out there or what school it took place against. Listen, it's ridiculous.
Should there be, we can debate on whether there should be harsher rules for, domestic violence or DUI stuff. We can debate that. I think everybody can debate that. But when it comes to gambling, there's no debating that. There's never been a precedent where a guy or a girl hasn't gotten suspended indefinitely, period. Or they've taken a significant hit. We talked about the guys that were here in Nashville. Ridley, a season gone. Nicholas, 6 games. That is big in the NFL. But those were guys making a few bets. One guy made a bet on another sport, but he was on the NFL grounds. Another guy was in Vegas, and he made a bet.
You have to have sharp and decisive and punitive rules because of one thing that is different than all these other things. If you are watching a sporting event and you're not sure if everybody's playing hard and the game's on the level, that is the biggest problem you can have. And so there have to be major penalties. It's got nothing to do with who gets hurt. Well, nobody got hurt. He's just betting. Who got hurt? Nobody. It's the rule. It leads to other things. It's been proven over time It's why the Black Sox scandal happened in 1919, and they put the rules in that they did. You cannot bet on baseball. They wanted to put it to stop because you did not want to have that thought watching ever when you're watching the game at the highest level.
Texas Tech's AD also released a lengthy statement the other day. Here is part of it. Quote, I've heard the word integrity used a great deal in the last 48 hours. As someone who has dedicated his career to college sports, I too believe integrity is central to our industry success. I also think integrity applies on more than one front. The integrity of sport matters. So does the integrity of how we treat a 22-year-old who sought help, entered residential treatment, and is working every day toward recovery. Those two things don't have to be in conflict.
Again,
not the point.
Not the point. And you are, okay, Texas Tech, you would be showing what you deem integrity if you take care of the kid. That doesn't mean you got to let him play football. Help him with his addiction again.
Yes.
Allow him to go to school there, be around the team, but you don't give him back the crack pipe. You don't do it. It's that doesn't, the more I think about it, it doesn't make sense.
No, it's not good for him, but that's even debatable. But the other part of it is he committed a violation.
Yes.
There has to be the repercussions for the violation.
I thought that was an ironclad rule. Like,
yes,
if you bet, especially in college, like, come on. There's never been a precedent where somebody knowingly bet, got caught, and they said you can play. You just got to miss a game or two. No.
Texas Tech does not have to do this. Texas Tech could say, Brendan, we're glad you're here. We're glad you're part of the team. We're glad you're getting help. We cannot, in good conscience, put you on the field during the season. You can, as Derek has said many times, you can be around the program. You can come to practice. You can be around your teams. You can be in film sessions, but you cannot go on the field. Texas Tech does not have to do this, but Texas Tech is going to do this because Brendan Sorsby gives them the best chance to win the national championship.
Now, Adam, you brought something up pretty interesting, jokingly, but I think it's a great question. When you said, hey, if you're a crisis manager, can you go to Lubbock right now?
Yes.
I do wonder if they have consulted outside people to say, hey, here's what we're thinking about saying. What do you think? Because I just get the sense, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong, nobody's buying any of this stuff where they did the car wash, as they call it. You know, they did the interviews. Here's our side of the story. It just sounds like they had a rah-rah session internally and said, yeah, if this happened at LSU, nobody'd be saying anything. You're right. But I just don't think from the outside, like a crisis manager, I don't think would sign off on that.
No.
Right? Like, who are they consulting PR-wise before they put this messaging out?
Again, when the head coach of the team is saying, well, he didn't murder anybody.
It's not the point.
He didn't assault anybody. So
we know that.
We're good?
That's right.
Okay.
Well, that's just like if I blatantly cheat on a test and the teacher says, boy, I got you. You're cheating on the test. You're on video. And I just look back and I say, but I didn't murder anybody. Like, what does that got to do with it? Nothing. It's got nothing to do with it.
You cheated. We're not talking about murdering.
We're not talking about murdering.
Okay, here's the question, because I don't think this is out there. Maybe it is. When did Texas Tech know? Because if you're giving someone all of this money, don't you do some type of vetting beforehand? If I'm a business owner and I'm shelling out the money that I'm shelling out, am I not doing a background check on this kid that I'm about to give all this money to?
That's a good question.
So did anybody at Lubbock knew?
There's speculation that Cincinnati knew what was going on and continued to let him play.
Here's part of a story from ESPN.com. The facts of the Sorsby case have been well established. The NCAA was alerted to Sorsby's gambling in March after law enforcement tipped off a sports book. The organization notified Texas Tech of its investigation in April, and Texas Tech deemed Sorsby ineligible after he admitted to having a gambling addiction and went to an inpatient rehab center. I guess my question is, when did Sorsby commit to Texas Tech? That I have to find out. But I'll have to give me a moment.
I would say probably before that.
Yeah.
He was probably already committed to Texas Tech.
In January.
Yeah, that sounds right.
In January.
Come on. you didn't know something from January to you didn't know that there could be a possibility that there's something going on.
I don't think it would be the first time
2-3 months
that people would just look the other way and say,
Yeah.
let's just hope nobody finds out about this and hope that he's okay, instead of saying, oh boy, we need to maybe look at this now and get out in front of it rather than hope that nobody finds out. Because people have sometimes the hope nobody finds out. Bruce Pearl, Jim Tressel, guys who got nailed pretty hard for thinking,
nobody's gonna find out. Keep your fingers crossed.
And then they check your email and they look at a picture or something. They're like, oh, didn't think about that.
Let's quickly go to our phone line. James has a comment on Cam Ward. James, thank you for calling and waiting. Please go ahead.
Oh, I didn't mind waiting here and all that. I mean, that's a whole other topic. I didn't call to talk about that, but I'm going to say, to me, he should be expelled from school. But that's a conversation for another phone call. Getting back to Cam Ward, I mean, whatever this was, listen, when they drafted him #1 overall, I thought to myself, he's watched him in college, watched how much he improved from the time he transferred from Washington State to Miami. I think we're going to be fine with Cam Ward. If anybody thinks that for 1 second that Will Levis and Mitchell Trubisky is better than Cam Ward, then they got to really serious get their head examined. All this texter that you guys read his text a little while ago, it's nailed it. The guy had a bad offensive line. They had I wouldn't say bad receivers, but he had mediocre receivers, the pedestrian coaching. Do you all agree with that? I mean, give this guy another year before we start saying he sucks, because I don't think he sucks. And quite frankly, I think Mitchell Trubisky sucks. I don't know why. I've thought about him before. I don't know why they brought him on here. I'd love to see his numbers from when he was a starter. I'll just hang up and say, for anybody out there, let's just give the guy a chance. It just drives me nuts. But anyway, thank you for the event, guys. And I'll call back. If I'm wrong, I'll call back midway through the season and say I was wrong. But anyway, have a great day. Thank you for letting me talk.
You too, James. 615-737-1025. We'll react to Cam Ward and Brendan Sorsby. Coming up next, Elliotte Friedman joining the program at the top of the hour. 615-737-1025. We are broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. DMase, Vingan, and Donick, 102.5 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you live at First Horizon Park. Sounds versus Bulls, Durham Bulls, that is. 6:35 p.m. first pitch on 94.9 The Fan. A lot of reaction on Cam Ward and Brendan Sorsby. We'll get to that before we get to Elliotte Friedman at the top of the hour. One texter says, 2 quick questions about this Texas Tech deal. 1, is it not in the actual NCAA rules not to gamble? If so, what are we doing here? 2, let's say this goes to court and they say the NCAA was right. Will Texas Tech get the death penalty like SMU? Now, let me make sure I have my facts right here. Sorsby's gambling, well, I'm sure I have this right. All of it happened before he became a member of Texas Tech. It happened when he was at Indiana and Cincinnati. So Texas Tech isn't party to this. So I don't think the Red Raiders would get the death penalty for any reason.
No,
they shouldn't.
I don't think so.
But yes, it is in the rules not to gamble.
Explicitly.
Yes.
And they spend a lot of time because they know, they as hypocritical as it is to say, yeah, we'll take all the money from all the gambling sites and let everybody go wild on the phones and the fans are going crazy. They also know they have to work that much harder to educate the players that, look, you can't do this. I know everybody else is doing it and it's all over the place. You can't get away from it. But it still doesn't mean that you're allowed to go gamble. And so nobody that's playing doesn't know that. Nobody.
The rule states that you cannot place any bet of any kind, again, any professional or college sports that has a NCAA championship. Further, the own team rule, again, own team. Any student athlete who wagers on their own sport or on other sports at their own school, keyword own, faces the permanent loss of all, and I repeat, all remaining collegiate eligibility. That's straight and clear, right?
That's pretty clear.
That's straight and clear.
Is there anything in there that says, oh, but he only bet on his team to win? No, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Josh says, an athlete betting on sports is like my wife cheating on me. That's the one thing we can never recover from. It breaks the integrity of the game and can never be truly forgiven. Caleb says, Texas Tech knows damn well if this was Arch Manning, they would be singing to the heavens how he shouldn't play. LOL.
Of course. Absolutely.
But it leads me
and I do wonder how many other schools that were in on Sorsby would they handle it different? Did they know things that were there schools that were tipped off about the gambling addiction in some sort of vetting or background check that backed off?
Mm-hmm.
Or would they have all taken him and then hoped that it didn't come to light? I don't know. I don't think Texas Tech was the only team offering him a scholarship.
No.
And he bet while he was in Indiana as well as Ohio.
Cincinnati.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think anybody found any bets on Cincinnati football while he was there. Now, there were a lot of things that I think were proven that he had other people place bets on his behalf. So, and I'm not sure where that counts in the numbers. Like there were some articles, if you just look it up, they've got all the stats. It's all there. The data is on the phone. It's all on the sites that these bets were placed. It's not disputable.
One texter says, I just don't understand why a coach would want to put his team through this. The second Sorsby makes a dumb player mistake, half the team is going to be wondering if he did it on purpose.
Because the guy that's paying the bills is running the team. It's basically what it is. God is the donors, the billionaires that are giving you the NIL money because you can't survive without them. And the head coach isn't strong enough. He doesn't have enough championships, if any, underneath his belt. So who is he going to say to the donor, we can't have him, or you need to, take your NIL away and he doesn't need to play? No.
So here's the data on Sorsby betting on Indiana when he was a part of the Hoosiers from ESPN. Quote, between September 2nd and October 22nd, 2022, Sorsby made at least 40 wagers on Indiana football and or individual members of the team. According to the documents, the bets ranged from $1 to $114 and totaled at least $850. Sorsby redshirted during the 2022 season and was a scout team quarterback. He didn't compete in games during the period in which he made bets on the Hoosiers. The wagers stopped 2 weeks before he made his debut against Penn State on November 5th, 2022.
So tell me, that was in what?
2022.
When he
40 bets on Indiana as a member of the team, but none when he was playing in a game.
That was 4 years ago, right?
Yes, about 4 years ago.
Okay, and the law states in Indiana that you have to be over 21 to make a bet.
I believe that is correct.
So I would be like, man, why don't they press him in Indiana? Because he bet while underage, and we don't know, depending on how much he bet, that is, he broke the law, which should subject him to penalty based upon that.
Let's go to Trey on our phone line, driven by Wilson County, Hyundai.com. Trey, thank you for calling. Please go ahead.
Hey, guys. How y'all doing?
Good, Trey.
Hey, Trey.
Hey, I just want to say that I have about a 30% outlook on Mr. Trubisky getting in any of them games this year.
Okay.
And I say that because I believe personally, if Cam Ward messes up or if he flops, Will Levis will probably be in there. There's no way they could play Mr. Trubisky. What kind of record Mr. Trubisky got? We ain't going back.
Thank you, Trey.
Derek.
Yes.
Hey, we ain't going back, baby. We ain't going back.
No, we're not.
Hey, I love y'all. Y'all have a good day.
Love you, Trey. You too.
All right.
Thank you, Trey.
And look, Trey, they paid him too much money. I don't think they're going to not play him if indeed something happens to Cam, which I pray it doesn't. But I'm not sure if Will Levis will even be around, honestly, you know. But I think in their mind, Trubisky is the backup.
Still got a ways to go.
Yeah.
To sort it all out, but that is something that will be on people's minds if Will Levis is still on the roster at training camp.
One texter on Cam Ward. We were talking about quarterbacks who have shown improvement, dramatic improvement in their accuracy over time. We've mentioned Josh Allen. He's usually the first person who comes to mind. One texter says, I'm not sure Ward is toolsy enough to overcome mediocre accuracy. He isn't the athlete Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson is. He's not a big guy either. If he became Baker Mayfield, I'd be happy, but I think that's probably his ceiling as a quarterback.
That wouldn't be all bad, really.
Baker Mayfield?
It's pretty good.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield.
He needed some time.
Quarterback, to me.
But then does it become Baker Mayfield for another team like Baker Mayfield did?
That's a good question. I think looking back, would the Browns?
But Baker
they could
did
do it all over
to the playoffs.
Yes, it's not as if he had no success.
Exactly.
They did have a really good year. They beat the Steelers in the playoffs, and their coach was the coach of the year.
Mm-hmm. Then it went downhill.
And then he had a bad year the next year, and then they decided to go to Deshaun Watson. That they scrapped Baker Mayfield more, I would say, quicker than a lot of people would have. Fair to say? I think if they could do it over again, you ask every Browns fan, they would have said, just keep Baker. Yeah.
One texter says, if there's no consequence here, doesn't that open an invitation for all these student athletes to gamble with no repercussion? Well, the dude at Texas Tech still got to play. Absolutely crazy. As you said, Willie, you don't even have to win the case. You just need a temporary injunction. And that's what happened with Brendan Sorsby. He's going to miss 2 games, easy games on the schedule, Abilene Christian and Oregon State for Texas Tech. He'll be back in time for the Big 12 opener, though. That's the key. He'll be back in time for the Big 12 opener.
I'm not sure if another team would do that. Even chance. Or let's say a player. Say, I don't know. I don't think another player would say, well, since Sorsby, they're allowing him to play, or there's an injunction in place that he can't play. I don't think that's going to make me that's at University X over here say, okay, I should bet now. Because this judge in my county may think totally different than what that judge in that county is thinking. The judge in this county may be like, no, you're done. So I'm not sure if it's going to open up like new people to go out there and bet, but I think, for those that may have placed bets already and trying to stop or have stopped, if they get caught, I think they would then go to this.
I do have a question that we don't know the answer to. How many other players are watching this story unfold and go, you know what? I may be in trouble. If somebody exposes me, I know, they know they've made, there have to be some, right? Maybe it's not a high profile guy like Sorsby, but there's some people out there that have probably made some bets that they shouldn't have and are sweating right now going, oh boy, what if they get my phone? Or what if somebody what if somebody finds things out? Yeah.
One texter says, the new recruiting tool, our local judge is an alum.
Yeah, there you go.
But
this guy wasn't, though, right?
He wasn't. The original judge had 2 degrees from Texas Tech and recused himself. Yeah. So the judge who made this ruling, not a Texas Tech alum. But I can see the point there. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, Elliotte Friedman, Sportsnet NHL insider, will join us live from Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final tonight in Raleigh, North Carolina. We'll also ask him, of course, about the Predators and more coming up next. 615-737-1025. Willy Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game.
Hey, this is Derek Mason, and you heard me tell you about Dr. Lodge and his staff over at Cool Springs MD for some time. If you set out to lose weight, chances are it's not your first time setting a goal to shed some extra pounds, only to face disappointment. But I got some good news, because at Cool Springs MD, Dr. Lodge and his team understands the frustration of this cycle, and that is why they offer a different approach to weight loss. Their comprehensive weight loss program is led by Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and addresses the root cause of weight gain with tailored nutrition, exercise, blood test supplements, and more. They will customize a program specific for you and you only. So connect with Dr. Lodge at CoolSpringsMD.com today to schedule your appointment for a personalized weight loss plan just for you. That's Cool Springs MD, where your weight loss journey becomes a success story.
DMase, Vingan and Donick, 1025 The Game. Willy Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, and Connor Newt here with you. Let's go to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our friend Sportsnet NHL insider Elliotte Friedman, who joins us every Thursday and is presented by Old National Bank and Green Ventures Landscaping. Hello, Elliotte. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for joining us as always. So you're in Raleigh for Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final. You're taking in the atmosphere, maybe having some more barbecue. What's the vibe around the arena and both teams ahead of the game tonight?
The vibe around the arena is excellent. It is. I don't know what's the weather like in Nashville today, but it is hot.
It's hot here too. Disgustingly hot.
Yeah. So I like hot, and we had a really crappy winter in Toronto this year. Like, it took a long time before the weather to get better. Vegas, it's the dry heat. Carolina, it's the humidity, man. It is oppressive, but I love it right now. I'll tell you that much. Vibe around the team's pretty good. I think, like, I'll say this, Adam. It's almost like when Eichel got off the ice today, there was a large scrum waiting for him. And he was like, he looked at it, he's like, oh, I know this is for me. And he gets in front of us. He's like, fire away. And he's a great two-way player. I think he's got 17 assists, but he's got 2 goals. Aho, big scrum around him for Carolina today. It's like, those are the guys. In the 2-2 series, those are the 2 guys everybody's looking at and saying, who's going to break out first?
Elliotte, we haven't spoken to you since the Predators hired Rob Blake to work with Chris McFarland in the Predators front office. What more can you tell us about that partnership? Did they have a prior relationship? And was Blake on the interview circuit for the GM openings around the league this offseason, including here in Nashville?
Well, considering, Rob Blake's career, he won Stanley Cup, he won gold medals, he once won a Norris Trophy as the best defenseman in the NHL. He's in the Hall of Fame. For a guy with that resume, he's one of the nicest people in hockey. I'll say this, in my job, he didn't like everything I did or reported on, but he always responded and he never lied. So I have a lot of time for Rob Blake as a person. Always treats people extremely well. The interesting thing about Rob Blake is I don't think he was really on the interview circuit at all, or very much, if at all, Adam. I think he kind of made the decision that he wasn't really interested in being a GM, but I think he wanted a role. And so when I heard he was coming to Nashville, and I don't think they were the only team that asked, I think that there were plenty of people who wanted him to have a role. Like, he really thinks the game well. Last year, I had the opportunity, or 2 years ago, I had the opportunity to go to LA and watch a practice with him. And it's just a reminder that when you play the game at the level that he has, he just sees things out there that I just don't see. And I remember he'd explain it to me, and I'd be thinking, why didn't I see that myself? Because I just don't see it at that level. So I think this is a guy who knows hockey extremely well. He's been a GM. He doesn't necessarily want to do that part of the job anymore, but I could see why a guy like Chris McFarland would want him. Now, the history, I know they've spoken before. They would have dealt with each other as GMs, McFarland in Colorado and Blake in LA. I don't think they ever worked. They didn't work together in Colorado, but McFarland's boss, Joe Sakic, and Rob Blake were very tight. So I guarantee them there's been a lot of exposure. They know each other both as GMs. I think it's a really good hire. I really like the move.
What has been the perception around the league, Elliotte, of the makeover that the Predators have made in their front office? The addition of McFarland, the addition of Blake. It was announced last week that Brian Poyle was leaving the organization after 16 years. It's the first time this front office has been Poyle-less in franchise history. So with all of that together, what's the perception around the league of the team in the front office that the Predators have built?
Well, I'm curious to see if any more changes will be coming. I've heard there's interest in, and I don't necessarily think they're leaving or anything like that, but, Jeff Kelty and Scott Nickel are guys who have respect around the league. And I'd be curious. And, Brandon Pridham, who left Toronto, he interviewed for the job in Nashville. So I think some people have wondered if there could be a connection there, maybe a couple other people around the league. It's possible, depending on how everybody feels, Adam, that this isn't the last change. Look, I mean, you talked about it yourself. It was a long search. They got the guy they wanted, a guy who there would have been a lot of interest in if he was generally available. And like I said, Rob Blake is a guy that has really big respect. So I don't think anybody's looking at who you've added and say it's bad to have these people in your organization.
Elliotte Friedman of Sportsnet is with us. Elliotte, earlier today, you and Mark Spector reported that Oilers defenseman Darnell Nurse has requested a trade from the organization. What do you expect his market to be, and how much will his hefty salary factor into it?
I think that, you know what, Adam, there's some players in the league that are good players, but their salary is such that they get looked at differently. I think Nurse is one of those guys. I think that part of Nurse was Nurse and Connor McDavid were really tight. As a matter of fact, for years, when they had roommates, they were each other's roommates. Like, that's how popular Nurse was in the Edmonton organization among the players. And there were times when Nurse was struggling and the fans or media would get on him. And some guys, particularly McDavid, would come right out to back him. So he's a popular teammate. I just think that, honestly, Adam, because of the salary, that number gave him a lot more attention, and every mistake was magnified. Is he a $9.25 million defenseman? No, he's not, but he's still a very good one. And I think the most interesting thing is, I have no doubt the reason this got out is because I think he asked about a week ago, and some teams started to find out there was a list, and they were trying to find out if they were on the list, and also if they weren't, could they get there? So I think there's a couple of things at play here. I think there's teams who think he'll benefit from a change of scenery. I think there's teams who like him as a player. I think the biggest question is, what's the number going to be? Is Edmonton saying you have to take him at 9.25, or is Edmonton willing to take him to keep, say, $2 million of that? I think there are teams, if you can get them down to the $7 million area, who will make this move. I think the biggest question is, what is Edmonton willing to do?
We'll talk with Elliotte Friedman, 32 Thoughts podcast. Now, Elliotte, let's go back to the Stanley Cup Finals. The last few games, the series has been electric, both in the NHL and obviously in the NBA. But where do you place this series thus far, say within the last 5 to 7 years? Where do you place this series as it is now up against those?
I think it's been excellent compared to the one I always say is the best series that I ever covered, Derek, was 2011, Boston over Vancouver, 4-3. It was a great series. There was lots of passion. There was lots of drama. It went to the 7th game. And for me, there's always a little bit of bias, Derek, when there's a Canadian team there. I work for Hockey Night in Canada. I've never covered a Canadian team winning the Stanley Cup, so I have a bit of bias. 2 years ago, when Edmonton was down 3-0 and forced Game 7, that was another one of my favorite series. This one has a chance to be right there with them. I agree with you. The hockey has been excellent. The games have been dramatic. Nobody can keep a lead. That's fantastic. There's lots of, you don't even know what's going to happen. The other night when it was 3-1 after 1 and Vegas almost scored, I thought Vegas was going to win the game, and I was surprised they didn't. It's for me, Derek, it's got a chance, and it probably has to go 7, but it has a chance to go down as maybe the best one I've ever seen.
We're talking to Elliotte Friedman, 32 Thoughts, the podcast, Hockey Night in Canada. And, of course, the Stanley Cup Finals continue tonight. Elliotte, one thing that we were talking about in terms of Dylan Larkin, I had a question for you on this. With the report coming out that he submitted the list of 3 teams.
Yeah.
When a player has a no-trade clause but then asked to be traded, is it reasonable for Steve Yzerman to come back to Dylan Larkin and say, you asked for the trade, so I know you have a no trade clause, but you have to give me some more options here to really make this work if I'm going to accommodate you?
I don't like, the thing is, to me, honestly, everything's a negotiation. I remember years ago, Ryan Kessler, who you guys remember well, asked for a trade from Vancouver, and he would only give them one team, Anaheim. And finally, Vancouver decided, look, we just need to do this, and they did it. I can see, like, Steve Yzerman, he's not going to get bullied by anyone. Nobody is bullying Steve Yzerman. I think he will be pragmatic, but I don't think he'll be bullied. And if these offers aren't good, he'll say no. The one thing I would tell everybody to keep in mind, though, Willie, is that when the whole Quinn Hughes saga began, I don't think anybody saw Minnesota as the winner. And ultimately, they ended up with him. So my feeling is Dylan Larkin wants to go to a team that he thinks has a chance to win. And if that is presented to him, he'll look at it. That's the way I look at this.
We'd love to get your perspective on this, too, as well, because I think from Nashville's perspective, a lot of the fans, I'm saying, really probably not the players or the coaches, but Michael McCarron was always viewed as a guy that they sort of brought out of nowhere. They brought him in off the scrap heap. It was a minor league trade for Laurent Dauphin, if I remember correctly. Yep. And it took a while before he really even worked his way into a regular role. So he's always been looked upon as kind of a fringe player. And then people see that he signs a 6-year deal. I read the article with a lot of quotes from the team where they were thinking he was going to get more than that on the market. So, first of all, were you surprised at the deal? And number two, is that just an indicator of the dearth of players that are going to become available here this summer?
We lost Elliotte. We'll get him back. We lost Elliotte.
He needed time to ponder that.
He really needed time to ponder it.
That's a good question, Willie.
Let me hang up my phone for a second. Let me regroup. Take a deep breath.
Take a deep breath.
Gather my thoughts. We're leaving
back.
the audience in
Right.
suspense.
We have Elliotte Friedman back. All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Willie.
I'll be honest. I wasn't surprised at the deal, Willie, and I'll tell you why. The cap is going way up, and it's a bad year for free agents. The other thing, too, is McCarron's a center, and centers are incredibly valuable. They're very hard to find. And I know that there was interest in him from other teams. Like, I think I'd heard Vancouver was going to go after him. And also, he's a right shot center. Right shots, there's a lot more lefties than righties. So right shot centers, especially ones that won't command a lot of money, are extremely valuable. So I wasn't surprised in the least. Now, I think Nashville made him a last contract offer before they traded him. I've heard numbers. They weren't even close to this. And that's okay. I think Nashville had a value, and they said, we're not going past that value. It wasn't anything like this. I just think that's a function of there's a lot of money in the system right now. There's not a lot of free agents. I think the number would have been closer to 4, but Minnesota gave him more years so they could spread out the term and the average annual value a little bit for cap reasons. I'm not surprised in the least he got that. You're right. It took him a little longer to get there, but he's an effective player. And I was not surprised in the least that happened.
What does it tell you about what the value might be for a Ryan O'Reilly? Or I'm just using that as an example here, but other teams that might be thinking about whether to re-sign somebody or put him on the trade market, just based on what you said about how rare a right shot centerman is, especially one of the caliber of O'Reilly.
Well, I mean, O'Reilly's a completely different case. I mean, if they made O'Reilly available, they could get, and O'Reilly was willing to do it, which was, we all know, has been the big issue here.
Right.
Then they would get a lot for him. Like, O'Reilly is a highly respected player, and he had a great year last year. They would have a bidding war, and they could do a lot. I just think right now, for any center who's durable or physical or a presence, the market is really high. Like right now, there's not a lot of free agents available. Now there's a couple centers. Scott Lawton, who plays with the Kings, they're going to try to re-sign him. Colton Sissons, who's playing here with Vegas at the Stanley Cup Final. But there's not a lot, and there's a lot of money out there, and there's a lot of teams desperate to win. So if you have something that people want, and O'Reilly would certainly be it, your market value would be enormous.
Another table setter for what's to come here in the off season. If there's one thing the Predators have, and it's funny, Chris McFarland traded the Predators probably 4 or 5 of these draft picks they have, but they have all of these draft picks, including enough of their own that they, in the cap space, they could make probably more than one offer sheet to somebody, whether it be Jason Robertson or Maverick Bork of the Stars, or there's a lot of other people in that restricted free agent that people are curious about.
Yeah.
So do you think this would be a year, because there are very few unrestricted free agents that are coveted? Do you think there will be more offer sheets thrown out there this summer?
I make this prediction every year, and every year people tell me I'm an idiot because it never happens. I'll say this: like, there's a lot of cap space. The biggest challenge this year with it is that everybody has cap space, and almost everybody. Not everybody does. So there's a lot of teams that you would target, and they have the cap space to match if they want to. Put it this way. I think there's players out there people would definitely want to offer sheet. And I think as we get into a newer era, there's less and less teams. Like there used to be a time where teams were philosophically opposed to it. That's coming to an end. I think most people would do it. I think there's a big difference between Willy considering it and actually having the guts to do it. And I think there's teams considering it. I want to see who has the guts to do it.
Elliotte Friedman, Sportsnet NHL Insider, has been our guest on DMase. Vin Gnadonic, he joins us every Thursday during hockey season, and he is presented by Old National Bank and Green Ventures Landscaping. Elliotte, as always, a pleasure. Enjoy Game 5. We'll talk to you next week.
I'll talk to you next week.
615-737-1025. We'll react to what Elliotte Friedman had to say. You can as well. 615-737-1025. Willy, Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game. DMase, Vingan and Donick, 102.5 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. Connor's musical theme today is covers that are better than the original.
I'm going to have to disagree with him on this one.
I do like Tracy Chapman's version of
Yeah,
NASCAR.
much better. Yes,
They're both great.
They're both very good. Luke Combs has got a powerful voice. I really like him, but
yes,
the original is near and dear to my heart.
Nothing like the original.
Yeah,
man,
it's hard to beat the original.
It takes you back to a certain day, certain time in your life.
Well, that whole album, that was Tracy Chapman's first album.
That was
kind of
huge,
very unique sound coming on the scene. It was really good.
I feel like I've let you all down with my theme.
No, you don't let us down.
This is a great subject.
Yeah, we like the music
because it's kind of like, in philosophical terms. Can you beat there's a reason you're covering the song because it's a great song. So you got a high bar to cross. Like how often does it really? What are examples of it really being better?
And the other,
Dolly Parton and Whitney Houston. When
that's
Houston
did
the remake of Dolly Parton.
Now that's a good example.
I'm not trying to start anything with Dolly Parton. Dolly was great now. Dolly was great now. Don't get me wrong.
Headline, DMase said something about Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton was great now. I'm not saying that she wasn't.
I mean, I'm hoping to do the show from Dollywood sometime. Derek Mason is ruining this. The other derivative of this is songs. Let me see if I can remember the right way to say this. Bands whose number one hit or top hit was a cover of another band song. For example, the Ataris, Boys of Summer. Know any other Atari songs off the top of your head?
I played Atari when I was young.
Or Alien Ant Farm, Smooth Criminal.
Yeah.
That's another topic for another day. I do want to piggyback off of something, Willie, that you asked Elliotte Friedman in our last segment. Earlier this week, Michael McCarron, former Predator center, signed a big deal, 6-year deal, cap hit of just north of $3 million.
3.3.
Caught a lot of people by surprise. And as Elliotte said, centers are a hot commodity. There aren't very many good ones available, and they rarely do become available because teams want to hoard their centers. If I'm Chris McFarland and I'm seeing the center landscape, I am wondering about trading Ryan O'Reilly. Now, if McFarland were to do that, if McFarland were to trade O'Reilly, we were talking through our Predators offseason survey yesterday. To me, the trading of Ryan O'Reilly, if that were to happen, would be the indicator of what I called in the survey a full-scale rebuild. If you trade Ryan O'Reilly, to me, that is cut and dry the direction you're going in. But I do wonder.
I think it would take you back. I don't know if I would label it full scale. Full scale to me would be really stripping it down further than that. But you would be clearly saying today our team is not better, right?
Yes.
So you would be taking a step back, but
it could have a domino effect.
Well, that would be the next question.
If Steven Stamkos, for example, sees Ryan O'Reilly being traded, he probably goes, well, I know where this is going.
Right.
Let's talk about waiving that no movement clause. But I
it
wonder,
could lead to some things. Yes.
I do wonder if McFarland considers that, because O'Reilly in the final year of his contract, coming off of a fabulous regular season, all of the accolades he has collected throughout his career, I think he could get something pretty good. Multiple pretty good things for Ryan O'Reilly. So I'm wondering if that enters the equation for Chris McFarland and Rob Blake as they peek under the hood, as they determine which way to go this offseason.
And on the show with Chase McCabe and Big Joe, they asked Chris McFarland directly about Ryan O'Reilly, and he said, we are going to have a, quote, honest conversation. And he didn't give a whole lot more detail. But I think that would be the first step is when they talk and meet, what does he tell him? Does he say, look, I'd like to shop you around. I'm not saying I want to trade you, but I'd like to get a feel for the market. Are you open to this? Like, I do wonder where that conversation is. Or does he simply go to him and say, hey, do you still want to be here? Do you want to be here as part of this group? Are you interested in extension? I mean, there's a lot of different questions that you would have. I would love to hear that conversation to see where it goes, because it is clear that you would have a huge number of teams lining up with offers, and there could be some really good offers in there. And at the same time, as I've said all along, Ryan O'Reilly is extremely valuable if you keep him.
I think that a lot will be made of how he treats or how he approaches O'Reilly. I think not only from the fans, but I think more importantly from the guys in the locker room. They want to see, because they know there will be changes. And they know that one of them may be a part of the change, but how you approach an individual goes a long way in the locker room, unless you just don't give a damn and you just, hey, this is my way to highway. But McFarland doesn't seem to be that type of person. I don't think you can help build what he's built in Colorado and be that sort of type of guy that you come in and you just not going to talk to the veteran guys and not try to figure out a way to not necessarily, okay, we're going to keep you, but try to do it the best way, to whereas if those guys in the locker room are looking at it and say, okay, I can see why he's making the decision. He talked to the player and he let him know up front. And that's all players want, because they figure if you treat one of our star players like that, how you going to treat me, in the big scheme of things.
Craig says, I'm going to keep O'Reilly until at least the trade deadline so some of these young kids can gain some experience from him. We talked about that last season, or this season, because the season isn't over. We talked about that earlier this season too. But I am really curious to see how McFarland approaches the offseason. And if we believe the chatter, it's going to be a busy offseason around the NHL. There are a lot of prominent players who could be traded. As we mentioned with Elliotte Friedman, he reported earlier today that Oilers defenseman Darnell Nurse has requested a trade. We've talked about Dylan Larkin requesting a trade. There's been rumors around Austin Matthews. I'm like Elliot said, every year we say this, hey, there could be a lot of fireworks this offseason, but with the money that all of these teams have to spend, the lack of quality free agents, I think we could see a lot of trades around the NHL this offseason. And I wonder what Chris McFarland decides to do, whether he decides to bring in someone with all of those draft picks you mentioned, Willie, that the Predators have, or if he decides to take advantage of a shallow center market and see what he can get for Ryan O'Reilly. So,
and you may not know until you really delve in to see how the market's going. So I'm fascinated because he has a lot of options, I think, when you get right down to it. And the offer sheet, I think, is one to keep in mind too. And Elliot made a great point. If a team has a lot of cap space, they're just not going to let you pilfer one of their players unless they just don't have a high regard for that player. But a team that is in a salary cap crunch, and that's where we have to really do our homework here, they're vulnerable. That's why Edmonton lost two players that they didn't want to lose 2 years ago. They simply could not fit the two guys under the cap based on what the St. Louis Blues offered the two players. And so that was a great job of doing the homework by St. Louis and seeing where the opportunity was. I wonder if that opportunity could be out there this summer.
What are we expecting from Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final tonight? I mean, I don't know if we can answer that question because the series has been so unpredictable. Multiple blown, multi-goal leads, overtimes. It's been a fabulous series. I know we're prone to hyperbole, but this could be the best Stanley Cup Final of my lifetime.
Did you guys
Take
know?
the over. Take the over.
Well, it's funny. Do you guys know that this is the highest scoring final after 4 games ever?
Oh, wow.
It's all.
I would not have guessed that. Like, I figured somewhere in some year there was a year where they scored more. But that's not the case.
And conversely, it's the worst goaltending we've ever seen in the Stanley Cup Final in terms of combined save percentages, I believe. So if you love goals, this is the series for you. And the Hurricanes made a bold choice in Game 4. They did not play their starting goaltender, Frederik Andersen. They called on Brandon Bussey, who played a big role in the Hurricanes having a really good regular season. He was a waiver pickup before the season, if memory serves, but he hadn't played at all in the playoffs. He comes in, plays a solid game, and it appears he's going to start again tonight.
It does appear he's going to start again tonight. There's been a lot of wondering about Freddie Anderson, and is he really available, or is he dealing with some other things? But either way, like it goes back to our long-running conversation about the importance of goaltending. I didn't think Brandon Busby was that great the other night. He won the game, but I don't think they won because of him. He did make a couple of key saves, but that was just a great performance by the Hurricanes defense. There was a point in the game where I think Vegas had like 9 shots halfway through the game. They're that good. So both of these teams have overcome average to below average goaltending for a lot of the year. But it's like they're banking on when it counts, they're going to get the big saves when they need to. And Carter Hart, up until this point, has given them nothing to worry about. But he's given up at least 4 in all 4 games. And so now all the questions are starting. Hey, have they played him too much? Are they asking too much? He hadn't played in a long time. He's played 25 games in a row. So can he get him to the finish line? And there's just as many questions about Busby and Anderson.
What do you think the over-under is?
Is it up to 6.5 now?
Yep.
Okay, so it was 5.5 before that. Because I was thinking they're due for a low-scoring game. So I would double down and say, this is the one. This is going to be the low score. But maybe not. Maybe that's the wrong way.
I'm distracted.
I certainly love the 4-4 game.
I am distracted by the smell of grilled onions.
Oh,
That is wafting
they got
its
the grill
way
going.
over here at
Ooh,
First
yes.
Horizon Park. So if anybody wants to buy me a hot dog, we are outside sections 114 and 115 at First Horizon Park. 615-737-1025. We'll take your reaction to anything, really. The Stanley Cup Final, Cam Ward, Brendan Sorsby. We've covered it all today.
The crazy game last night in New York. Oh,
yes.
my God.
But coming up next, I do want to discuss something that is my living nightmare to wrap up the show, and we'll talk about that next.
So are Derek and I going to be more like therapeutic here in this next segment? Do we need to put our therapist hat on?
We'll see.
Okay.
Be at the ready. 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025. The Game.
If you've lived in Middle Tennessee for any time, then you've seen how wild our weather can be, from winter storms, tornadoes, to flooding. We've seen it all. Like many of you, the winter storm earlier this year caught me unprepared. I lost power for 7 days. That's 7 days out of my house, in a hotel, worrying about whether my pipes were going to burst or not. That's when I realized being prepared isn't optional. I'll be ready the next time a weather emergency happens. So I started looking for whole home generators. I found Tri-State Water, Power, and Air. They've been in business for over 30 years, specializing in generators for more than half of those, which is all great. But the reason I chose to reach out to them and ultimately go with them was because of the reviews and the confidence other homeowners shared about their experience with Tri-State Water, Power, and Air. When Tri-State came to my home, they did a free on-site assessment, made sure the generator fit my home for me and my family's needs. The thing I appreciated the most is they didn't try to oversell me. They just got straight to the answers to my questions, turnkey, and they handle everything from installation to long-term service. If something ever goes wrong, I'm not calling around, which I hate. I'm making one call, and that's the Tri-State Water, Power, and Air, because they got me covered. And that's the kind of relationship I want. And I know that's the kind of relationship you want. So look, the weather's not slowing down. It was raining the other day. It's going to rain in the future. So you must be ready. Call Tri-State Water, Power, and Air today to protect your home and your family. Find them at tristatewhywait.com. That's tristatewhywait.com.
DMase, Vingan and Donick, 102.5 The Game. Wrapping up the show with some Whitney Houston. Derek, do you have any other insults for Dolly Parton?
Hey, listen, I'm just, on my opinion, Dolly's great. She is. But there's great, and then there's
Whitney Houston.
Yeah, so.
She is in a league of her own. Thanks to the Nashville Sounds for having us out here today. First pitch at 6:35 here at First Horizon Park. Sounds versus the Durham Bulls. I do want to give a shout out to one of our own, Joe Rexroad. You probably heard what happened to Rexroad recently at a gas station. Yesterday, I went to get my gas pumped, and you know what I did? I thought, what would Rexroad not do? Lock his car while he's pumping his gas, and that's exactly what I did. So thank you, Joe.
For a reminder, just awareness when you go to the gas pump or anything like that. Be aware of your surroundings, like they say in Batman Begins.
Yes. Always put your
mind
stuff
surroundings.
on the floor. Don't put it on the seat where people can see it.
Yeah.
Put it on the floor or behind the back seat on the floor. When you're getting out, you survey your surroundings. And, because a lot of times your doors are locked on your passenger side, and you think automatically that, and then you forget about the driver's side and things like that. So luckily Rex got his stuff back.
He did. But I had that moment at the gas pump. I was standing outside the car, not really paying attention. And then suddenly it popped into my head, hey, what would Rexroad not do? And I locked the car, and I felt much better about it.
Are you going to get your next tattoo of what would Rexroad not do?
No.
Question mark?
WWRRD.
You can still use the J.
Oh, boy. No, I don't think that one's going to make it onto my skin anytime soon. But we're out here, and it's been a pleasure to be out at First Horizon Park, but it is sweltering outside. And it reminded me of my living nightmare. There is a big event happening in our region starting today, Bonnaroo. And if someone said, hey, Adam, do you want to go camp out at Bonnaroo for 4 days? That is my living nightmare.
Can you glamp it? Some people glamp
you
it.
do not glamp at Bonnaroo. There is no glamping, as far as I know.
You're roughing
it. You're roughing it out there.
I do think there's some high end.
I think there's some. I've heard of some high ends.
Yeah.
I hadn't been, but I heard of some
portable
people having,
shower kind of thing.
People have had those high ends.
Some amenities.
Exactly.
You got to know the right people, Adam.
Exactly.
Well,
you got to know the people.
The people I know who go to Bonnaroo do not glamp.
Well, you need to get you some glampers, man.
Communal showers? No, thank you.
Nah.
Porta potties for 4 days? No, thank you. And I love live music. I love going to concerts. You will never catch me at a multi-day festival camping out under zero circumstances.
Even your best music, your genre of music?
I would go stay at a hotel and come back the next day.
Okay. All right.
I'm not doing it.
Hey, I don't blame you. But if I was glamping, then yeah, I would.
I would need to know the lineup of the bands. I think I would be a one-day person, and it would have to be the lineup of bands would have to be right, and then I think I would brave the elements. But it would take a lot for me to stay overnight.
If I had my own shower, that's really all I need.
Yeah.
My own shower.
Yeah,
I'm good.
I'm looking at the Bonnaroo lineup right now. I see Noah Khan, and you know me, Noah Khan and I have a beef. He doesn't know about it. But when he was signing at Grimey's and completely screwed up my street with all the illegal parking.
Yeah.
It's all Noah's fault.
Yeah, Noah.
You could bring a sign to Bonnaroo.
I could.
Stay away from Grimey's. Get off my street. He'd be like, "What's?
Don't come back to East."
I believe Weird Al Yankovic is performing at Bonnaroo.
Oh man.
What is he going?
These are the first two artists you see. Weird Al Yankovic and Noah Khan.
How many hits do he have?
I see.
He's got a lot.
They're all parodies.
I see.
All of them. Yeah.
I see the Strokes.
Different?
I see. No, not different
Willis is
strokes. Derek.
different. Yeah.
I see Kesha, Noah Khan, Teddy Swims,
Okay.
Turnstile, Youngblood,
Okay.
Skrillex.
Who?
Not for me. not for me.
I don't even know who.
I'm not
is.
seeing enough of collective there for me.
Yeah, that's not enough for me.
To brave the elements there.
So my wife was planning on us joining her family for a glamping trip, I guess you could say, out west. We would stay at a lodge, and we ultimately couldn't go. And she told me the other day I had to cancel our lodge reservation, and I was just like, oh, that's too bad. I know you were really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't believe it. We can't go to the lodge.
That would have been fun. That would have been fun out in the wilderness.
My sister-in-law is an environmentalist. She is an outdoor person. My son likes to be outside. I like to be outside within reason.
With conditions.
With conditions. With air conditioning.
Yeah. Options.
Yes. So any of you who are going to Bonnaroo, you're probably already there right now. I hope you're having a wonderful time. Catch me anywhere else.
Is it a 20? It's not 24 hours, is it? Or
they play music all night long.
Do they?
There might be a brief stoppage at some point, but I think there's something happening.
How many stages
are
are out there?
Multiple stages, bigger stages, smaller stages, dance parties. It's a whole thing.
Oh, man.
Ricky says there is glamping and showers.
See? There you go.
But even then,
let's do it.
I'm like, I think we should make a show trip to Dollywood before we make a show trip to
Hey, I'd do that. I would do that.
You got to get the
I heard Dollywood is pretty
Dollywood,
nice.
Dollywood is the best.
I've never been, but I heard it's
I
pretty
don't know.
nice.
I think I would. I think I might.
Willie
Have you been to Hershey Park?
I have been to Hershey Park.
I like Hershey Park.
Willie
have you
doesn't
been?
strike me as
I
a
did as a
theme
kid.
park
I went to
guy.
Hershey Park as a young kid.
You don't strike me as a theme park guy.
I grew up in Orlando.
Of
so
course.
I got my fill, believe me. So lately, not as much, but I'm a theme park guy. I'd go theme park.
Okay.
I'm all in on Disney. You tell me you want me to tag along to Disney, I'll go. I would do that. I'm not as much of like the high tech roller coasters.
Yeah, I can't do those. No more.
I have a
can't do
limited
Yeah.
limited space for my body to
I got
handle
off
that.
of one. It wasn't
Yeah.
nice. I
It's
had a
hard.
headache.
I do
I
all
think
that.
when you get older, I think it's
Yeah.
harder on your body. I think I could endure once or twice, and I'd
Uh-huh.
be like, that was awesome, but like, don't push it.
Have
Don't push
you
when
know about-
everybody's like, let's go again.
you
I'm
know
like,
about
"Where do
Cedar
y'all go?"
Point, don't you?
Huh?
Cedar Point
Oh,
in
heck
Ohio.
yeah.
Yes, I remember when we went there. The last time I went there, I didn't take the kids. That was at Six Flags. But the last time I went to Cedar Point, they have the oldest wooden roller coaster.
Yes.
I used to love that thing. And
Is that
I
the
would,
Beast?
No,
Or
it's not the
is
Beast.
that
I
Kings
forgot what-
Island?
That's Kings Island.
Yeah.
That's King. I would love this ride. I got on that ride as an adult in my late 30s, 40s. Oh, I said I'd never get on another roller coaster again because it rattles and shakes. I'm like, I can't do this.
So growing up in Virginia, we had a lot of field trips and summer camp trips to Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. And I was the kid who was like, yeah, I'll hold all of your stuff while you go on the roller coaster. You
didn't get on the roller coasters, man?
I was too terrified when I was younger
man.
to go on roller coasters.
Boy, you missed out.
Well,
You missed out on stuff hitting you, bird poop, people spitting and coming back, pow, throwing up, and it comes back hit you.
The infamous story was Fabio once rode a roller coaster at Busch Gardens and got hit in the face by a bird of some kind.
Yeah, that ain't fun.
Had blood dripping all down his face. That beautiful Fabio face. He was on the cover of all of the romantic novels.
My worst nightmare is getting stuck on a roller coaster upside down.
Oh, I was just about to
my
say that.
goodness.
I am not about dangling upside down.
Yeah.
No.
That's probably one
that's
reason I don't
scary.
get on roller coasters
Worst
today now.
nightmares for me. Number 2, being upside down on a roller coaster. Number 1, going to Bonnaroo. But that'll do it for us today. I'm being slightly facetious, but that'll do it for us today. Thank you to the Sounds for having us out here. First pitch at 6:35 on 94.9 The Fan. We will be back in the air-conditioned studio tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Chad Withrow will join the program as he does every Friday. Who knows what else we'll get into? We'll find out tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
Be love on your people. Have a safe, blessed, and wonderful day. I love you. The team loves you. Hear that music. Don't forget about us, because we will not forget about you. We will be back on these airwaves starting at 3 p.m. in the studio on 102.5 The Game. And if you're out, please drink a lot of water, because it is hot out here as fish grease. And as I always say, tomorrow we're going to be talking and
you're going to be listening.
Peace.